Did something, again, a little bit funky in game two. Those are the maps, though, that he really needed to have the strong long-term macro play. Ooh, in these positions, though, he could, again, resort on some sort of funky one-base aggression. We see that in the top corner, Evil Genius's Machine as the blue Zerg, and in the left, Root Gaming's Minigun as the Protoss. Again, proxy positions, close positions. So more aggression is possible.
Yep, and of course with Machine being up that one game, sort of having his opponents back to the wall, Minigun has to probably be thinking about playing safe. Now, one could argue, is that build that he did in the last one playing safe? I think it was solid and really threw his opponent off guard. So, yeah, I think it was a really appropriate thing to do at a really appropriate time. And maybe now, as he is going to scout his opponent real quick, and that gives him a long opportunity to at least think about, okay, what are my options and what's going to be the best for me?
Yeah, definitely. And, even if that Blink Stalker play didn't work out for the best, we saw Minigun make a substantial amount of probes. And on a map like Blistering Sands, you want to have a very mobile army. Having a lot of Blink Stalker is going to be helpful for almost the entire game. So even if it failed, I think he would have been in a comfortable position. At the same time, we see Root Minigun having that probe dart around again. Will he throw down the pylon? We see no gateway going down at all yet. There's the gateway finally going down on 14 food for Minigun as he continues to loop around, and again, Machine is forced to make a fast pool.
Yep, he finally decides it's time to throw it down, as this probe is just to be in all sorts of annoyance and just harassing this drone right here. Drone can't seem to get him down. Meanwhile, the gateway is up, as you mentioned. And I did notice that, Minigun tends to have a very casual sort of APM early on, while Machine's constantly like powering away. And then it gradually increases for Minigun throughout the matchup here. But again, Machine in the games where he's had those solid victories, he's gotten that hatch down fairly quickly. So I do like that Minigun's making that conscious effort to go ahead and try to delay that as much as he can.
Yeah, so it does look like that hatch is finally down. No gas up yet for Machine per usual. He generally relies a little bit more on the spine crawler defense early on. Far more so than the other players. And you'll note Machine did the very funky scout pattern again, sending the Overlord to the worst position for him first, to the closer by ground position, as opposed to the closer by air position. And now Machine knows that there is no proxy 2-gate coming. He sees no forge and knows that there's no expand coming up. But again, I'd like to note the fact that there is that warp gate, that chrono boost being saved up, 80 energy on the Nexus, which means that we could be seeing an extremely, extremely fast 4 warp gate play.
Yeah, he's going to chrono out the Stalker and then throw another one down on the Warp Gate for its first cycle. Here comes the Zergling to check things out, and Zealot's going to quickly get back into his hold position point. And now we've got the hatchery about ready to finish. Here comes the drone transfer, just almost exactly like we saw from him early on. I also expect, spine crawler drone just sitting there right at the front of the hatch too. It'll go down. Very, very solid way for any Zerg to start this off. Meanwhile, here comes that Stalker and that Zealot that did a pretty good little, annoyance there in that first game.
Yep, Stalker, Zealot, very, very good push. Already starting to do some damage to the Queen. Now the Zealot's coming up. Drone's starting to dart in. 4 Zerglings en route to pop out. That Spinecrawler's taking a lot more damage than it did in the previous games. Look at it, already dipping below 100 life. Always good if you can soften that up for any future attack. We see, the 4 Warp Gate coming down right now for Root Gaming's Minigun. Not chrono boosting that Warp Gate. Big blunder, and it looks like the Spinecrawler finishes. And there it finally falls, so now it is just Stalkers against non-speed Zerglings. Awful position right now for Machine. He is going to definitely need to get more Spine Crawlers up if he wants to hope to stay alive. As we see, that Warp Gate upgrade has just now finished right in line with all of those gateways.
Yeah, and he's just started speed as well, taking his second gas in his main. And that spine crawler is going to finish here, but these initial forces from Minigun have actually done some pretty decent damage. Once again, drones being pulled off here, and still we don't see any sort of Tech Delaire or Roach Warren going down here. So going to be relying off of these spine crawlers and the speedlings. And let's see if Minigun is going to be able to put together. The 4 warp gates are up. They are open. There's no second gas down, but there's going to be a pretty scary force knocking on that front door of Machine very, very soon.
I know, look at the number of Stalkers coming out. Notice 6 minutes and 44 seconds, exact same time that Minigun had Blink done last game. Again, incredible timing, and there we see A lot of those Zerglings trying to surround, but Zealots and Stalkers continuing to be produced, pushing forward to the expansion. Spinecrawler nowhere near done. Machine realizes he's in a lot of trouble. He has 10 Zerglings coming out right now. No doubt will be producing far more. But the Zealots of Minigun are just at too good of an angle. This came so quickly. And now we see both Queens beginning to join in, trying to get that Spinecrawler up. It is not going to get up in time, and all those Zerglings are just now hatching. Machine, though, is in just a terrible position. Minigun has far too many units, and Machine, wow, looks like he'll have his front broken by a 4 Warp Gate.
Yep, and there it is. GG.